Hello, welcome back to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendeka. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
I'm here.
Missing in action once again, the whale shirt, Kyle Bodzanowski. Does he know yet that that's his new nickname, is whale shirt?
No, because he doesn't listen to this if he's not on it.
Oh my gosh, I am so offended. This is ridiculous. Oh my lord, that is I'm so upset. I'm so upset. This episode...
Maybe he'll just get snowed in.
Yeah, right? Yeah. This episode of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast is brought to you by Nick DiStefano. He is the realtor for the legends, my friends. That includes yours truly. I'm sure he'll be helping Mike when he decides to get his own place. He is the realtor for you. He is starting his own business. He was with RE/MAX for a really long time. He helped me find my house. He helped us find our place for our brand new studio. He is the guy to go to. That's Nick DiStefano. You can contact him 586-556-0304 or hit him up on email, nick@nickd, that's nickd as in dog, .realty. So the episode this week brought to you by Nick. We appreciate Nick being a sponsor this week. Can't say enough good things about him. He is the absolute man when it comes to all your house buying and selling needs. Let's just jump right into it today, Mike, though. We promised, and we're going to talk the preview of Full Gear for AEW's first pay-per-view since their debut on TNT.
Yes.
We're going to talk Crown Jewel a little bit because WWE made me eat my words a little bit on that from the Crown Jewel show, but we're also going to preview Survivor Series as they've added another wrinkle, which I think is going to get people so excited. We're going to talk the World Series and the Nationals' big victory, and maybe some other stuff too. Maybe some Lions, maybe some other stuff. Whatever I feel like talking about today. Okay. But let's just jump right into it, though. Full Gear. Their first AEW pay-per-view since what was All Out was the last one before that, right? I think it was the last one they did, was All Out. So this is going to be the first time we've seen a fully produced AEW pay-per-view after a good solid couple months of television.
Yes.
Which is kind of a groundbreaking moment when you think about it. This is going to be, it's on a Saturday, which is a little bit different. Just quickly on your thoughts on that, because I thought not only was that like, oh, okay, like I like that, but also I was like, why haven't they always been doing that? Like, I feel like more people would buy and watch on a Saturday night if you're gonna purchase a pay-per-view, like the pay-per-view. I'd rather watch on a Saturday than Sunday.
Are you talking about like in general for pay-per-view?
Yeah, because WWE right now is different because they're on the network, right? Yeah. So I can go back and watch
AEW's always been on a
No, I know.
Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like I've always felt like that process or that ideology of going on a Saturday rather than a Sunday kind of bucks the trend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know about you. Would you rather have it on a Saturday than a Sunday? Because I feel like I would, because I go to work on Monday. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I'm exhausted. Like I don't want to stay up till 11:30 midnight and then wake up 6 hours later.
Oh yeah, no, I love them on Saturdays.
Yeah.
I don't like when WWE does them on Sunday.
It's so annoying. Yeah. It's so annoying because I just feel like, okay, like all right, I do wish so, and I've gotten a little bit spoiled, and I think I mentioned this to you before. I'm very spoiled by the WWE Network now a little bit, and what I mean by that is I don't have to go and go buy the pay-per-view. Yeah. I can just go, oh, okay, I'm paying this monthly anyway, so I just have it at my fingertips at all times. Yeah. Now I gotta make an effort to be like, all right, who are we going to? Whose house are we going to? Where are we watching it? You know what I mean? And it's just it's a thing now, right? So it's just like, man, I just can't wait. Just get big enough and have your own streaming service, AEW. Like, get on it, Not fight either. I want an actual thing that's going to work properly.
Yeah, I want AEW Network.
Yeah, right? Just immediately, WWE's worked like 30 years to get this going. They're just 3 weeks in. Just do it.
That's what everyone else is doing.
But the biggest match is going in, obviously, Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in a non-sanctioned match. We're going to talk about that in a second because I'm a little annoyed by that. I want to talk Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, or Cody, the American Nightmare, for the AEW World title. Cool. Those are probably the two biggest matches. What else do they have announced for the card so far?
So as of this second, which is November 2nd, they have the Bucks, Nick Jackson versus Santana and Ortiz.
Yep, formerly known as LAX if you're an Impact fan.
And they have Adam Page versus Pac in a one-on-one match.
Another one of those, okay.
And that's it.
Yeah, so far? Okay, yeah. I'm guessing we'll have a tag title match. I'm guessing we'll have a women's match.
Yeah, but I'm assuming they're only going to stick to 6 to 7 matches, so I don't think they'll go much higher than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you don't want to bombard everybody, and I think those are the main stories.
Yeah, it's nice because now that you have your TV show, it's not like you have to, for All Out, they were just like, we're going to put 13 matches on and get everyone on the card.
Yes.
Now you don't have to get everyone on the card now, so you can stick with your
Yeah,
6-7 match format.
Right.
Hopefully they just do it like NXT does, and just do like 5 to 7 at most matches.
Yeah,
And
I do think
fine.
you do need to have a tag title match and a.
You need a- yeah, you need to have-
I think you need to have all your titles.
Yeah, you only
on
have
your
3
shit.
titles, so you
Right.
should have all of them on.
Right.
But then, like, just like your big rivalry should
Yeah,
have the
absolutely.
big
Yeah,
face
I don't want an opening cold match where it's like, oh, MJF's going against Jimmy Havoc for no reason.
Yeah,
like
that's
they
what I mean.
can't. They don't have that luxury at this point of developing those kind of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just
Right.
want like like how Takeover is. Just give
Yep.
me your
Yeah.
5 big
Here's your
rivalries.
here's your tag titles. Okay, here's the next big feud. Here's
Yeah.
your women's.
So
Here's
I'm
this.
okay
and
with what the
then,
card is. If you add, you know,
Yeah.
whoever, SCU and Lucha Bros in a
Mhm.
rematch, and then a women's match, I'm totally
Yeah.
down for this card.
yeah. I think it's going to be good. What are your thoughts so far on their builds to these? I mean, before, right, like you kind of mentioned that when originally, because they didn't have the weekly show, right,
Mhm.
you're just kind of going in hoping, all right, let's just throw them out there and
Yeah.
hope it sticks, right?
Yeah.
Now they've had some time to really build to these matches. I have really enjoyed the build between Jericho and Cody.
Mhm.
I know they don't have as much time invested as they do the Moxley-Kenny Omega match, but I've really enjoyed the fact that Jericho, in some ways, they've made it to where like that contract signing, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't any physicality, right? They just had and it was short, it was brief, right? Jericho still got his stuff over. Cody, clearly the fan favorite, right? They kind of built up to that contract signing with like the limo ride and all that stuff. Cody hasn't touched Jericho really, you know what I mean? They haven't really had that physical interaction.
Mhm.
You know, it's all been more like the psychological, like I'm going to attack your brother or I'm going to do this,
Yeah.
rather than the strictly, we're just going to attack you every
Yeah.
single week. You know what I mean? I've really enjoyed this build more than I have in other ones. Is that something that I think they're trying to, do you think they're trying to kind of like really emphasize on, or these builds, these world title matches, to make them feel like it's a big fight feel every time the world title's on the line?
Yeah, I do. And I also like that you set yourself up where you have 2 big factions. You have the Elite and you have the Inner Circle.
Yes.
So now you can have all these inner team matches
Yeah,
where you do
absolutely.
Jericho versus Cody, the head of the Elite, head of this team. Then you have there are 2 great tag teams in each division going at each other.
Right.
So basically this turns into like the Inner Circle versus the Elite, almost full gear pay-per-view.
Right.
But you just have like
Right.
one from each. You have like 3 or 4 matches set up from that,
Yep.
from those
Absolutely.
2 groups.
Absolutely.
So it really helps with the build because
Yeah.
like Jericho's out in a match, and then the Bucks come out, and LAX or Santana Ortiz come out or whatever, and then there's your build. They all attack each other, whatever. There's the build. Or you have the contract signing, and then they attack Cody's brother.
Right.
There's your build.
Right.
You know, so they have all these different avenues to go into.
Yeah, absolutely.
With having
And
2
the
groups.
branches, right, with the Dustin Rhodes, with the MJF stuff
Yeah.
with the group, you know what I mean? So you're seeing a lot of that kind of break off. I just, once again, I got to commend Chris Jericho because he is doing a phenomenal job of really not only adding legitimacy to AEW as the world champion. I know a lot of people said AEW's trying to be different. Yeah, they just gave a 45-year-old man the world title, but it's not. It's Chris Jericho though, and Chris Jericho has completely added not just, like I said, the level of legitimacy to not only AEW but the world title, but he's also once again reinvented himself. He's not the Painmaker anymore. You know what I mean? I know he comes out, you know, still all decked to the hip 9, but like he's not. He's like the Le Champion guy now. Like he's in a matter of minutes had completely shifted the way he does everything again.
Okay.
And this is like the 6th time he's done it in his career.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely crazy.
What are the odds that this goes to a 60-minute draw because they added that stipulation in?
Yeah, those like with the
Because there's like
judges.
the 3 judges that are going to score
I'm gonna,
it.
yeah, I'm gonna
What
say
are the odds that they use that?
I'm gonna say not high because if you're going 60 minutes, that means the rest of your card is going to suffer because of it. Like I liken it to WrestleMania 12 where Brett and Shawn had to go an hour, right? So outside of that match and Diesel Taker, name me another match on that card. No one remembers. So you know what I mean? So like you got to shorten and condense, and I feel like that's gonna hurt the overall pay-per-view.
Well, I would say
Unless they leave it
I was gonna
exactly
say, what
like
if
this. We
what
only
if you
have
leave it
4
with
matches?
these 4 matches, maybe add a women's match or something? Because that's you just won
Maybe,
the titles.
yeah, right.
So if you have 5 matches on the card and you're gonna go
Maybe.
3.5
Maybe
hours,
they could.
You could give 2.5 hours to 4 other matches and put an hour in this one.
If they're gonna give them an hour, I think people need to be prepared for an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
You
wish.
can't do it like Ring of Honor style when it was Taven and Lethal win an hour.
Yeah,
and like no one was
and
ready
everybody
for
went,
that.
"Oh my gosh!" Like you can't just not announce that and go, "By the way, it's going time limit draw," because I don't want the match to be taken out of out of their hands. Ring of Honor used to do this a lot back in the day, where it's like, okay, when it's a big match, okay, we're gonna have 3 judges here just in case this goes the full time.
Yeah.
It never went the full time, but it was always like that.
Yeah.
Adding another level
it's
of
just always like that
legitimacy.
first time, like, oh, we're gonna have 3 judges. Is it because it's gonna go 60 minutes and you're getting
Right.
Because then you can hold it as to Cody's like, I didn't lose.
Right.
I just like also didn't beat you.
Right.
Kind of thing. So
Right.
you can
I
set
couldn't
up
beat
for
you,
later.
but you couldn't beat me. That
Yeah,
whole
and it
thing.
took 2 judges to score
Right.
your way or whatever.
Yeah. Do you think Jericho retains?
Yes.
Yeah, I do
think
too.
he holds for a little longer.
Yeah, I think he does too. I just think that Cody... It's weird because they're in a weird predicament because in one hand you're like, okay, Cody Jericho, sign me up. I'm cool. But on that same note, you got to go, okay, but that means that someone's going to have to take that L there.
Yeah.
And I don't know necessarily if I'm ready for Cody just to lose clean in the middle of the ring.
That's what I mean.
Because then you go, whoop,
That's
right
what I
back
mean.
down.
I think that's why you implement the
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna have the 3 judges because if you go 2 to Jericho, 1 to Cody, you go, listen, I lost because 1 judge said
Right.
I wasn't good enough on that night, and then you have a match 2 or 3 months from now.
Yeah.
Then you can set either
They haven't
Cody up.
announced the judges yet, have they?
No.
Have they announced the judges? That's going to be interesting to see.
Because
That may add fuel to that fire.
It could be like someone from like WWE past or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, very
that was,
well.
like,
Yeah.
Jericho's side or
It could be
something.
like Boris Bischoff comes out.
Yeah, or something. like
That would be
insane.
crazy.
So basically,
Yeah.
you can look at it, and they have like 2 of the judges that are definitely Jericho's side.
Yeah.
Like already there, and you're like,
Yeah.
and Cody's like, crap. Now I have to win in the 60 minutes, and that can be like the story they tell.
Or they do the other way where they use that to flip somebody, right? Like, oh, what if his
MJF
wife, or
is
yeah, right, or somebody else comes out and you're like, oh, okay, this is like DDP, and then all of a sudden DDP goes, no, he won. You know what I mean? You're like, what?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that kind of stuff, that they could do. I'm very interested to see how that kind of plays out. One quick last thing on this Full Gear show. I'm really annoyed that they did this whole non-sanctioned match between Kenny and John. I feel like similar to the same criticism that we gave WWE with Bray and Seth at Hell in a Cell, I think AEW did an exact same thing, and I think people aren't truly realizing it because oh, okay, well, it's still going to be Kenny and John. I get that, but at the same note, you now have said that, oh, by the way, this match, no matter how awesome, no matter how devastating it's going to be, don't count.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a cop-out a little bit, and I'm like, if you're not ready for John or Kenny to lose, which clearly you are because Kenny's already lost, then you shouldn't have booked this match yet.
Yeah.
This should have been an overarching thing where it's like, okay, I liken it to Taz Sabu in '97, where basically Taz just called out Sabu for like a year, and they never fought each other. Sabu never answered, he never did anything, and then finally at ECW's very first pay-per-view, they went at it, and it was like a big moment, you know what I mean? So it was like, I'd rather have seen that where it's like John kept calling out Kenny, and Kenny's like, I don't want to fight, like this is not my thing, or whatever, and then they got to a point where John would not let Kenny get the world title until he beat something in that sort of effect, where you build up to it to where now I have equity in John Moxley, where, okay, John's lost once or twice already to Jericho or whoever, Kenny's done his thing, and then it's not as impactful when, or it's not as like, oh, well, Kenny just lost again, so now he's got 2 singles losses to Jericho and Moxley. There's no way he's getting a world title shot anytime soon. And if you pin John, you're like, okay, where you go with Moxley now? You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I don't like about that. I don't know. Are you on the similar path as I am, or are you kind of like, all right, I'm gonna give him a pass? Because I was like, oh, that's kind of crappy. Like when they said that, I was like, that's not cool.
I don't give them a pass for how the world title match is set up. I feel like it's going to be they go to 60 minutes, Jericho retains, and then the winner of this match, even though it doesn't count, I think the winner of that match challenges, and then the other person, since it didn't count, is going to like interfere in that world title match, and it's going to end up being a long arching story to another pay-per-view where it does matter, and then the win does matter at the end of the day. So I'm not as mad if that's the long-term story booking that they're going to go.
Yeah.
But knowing my luck, it won't be that, and it's just going to be kind of stupid.
It's going to be stupid, right. And that's the thing, and I will caution people, too, and I think this is something that AEW needs to be very conscious of, is their finishes on pay-per-views. The biggest knock on WCW for the longest time was that their finishes were always screwy and stupid, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I watched a world title match just end clean. It never happened for WCW. Never did. Now, I'm not saying AEW is WCW, but what I am saying is that you are following you don't want to get into that pattern where every time you go off the show thinking, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're going to make wins and losses matter, then wins and losses need to occur.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So just something that people really need to start paying attention to. I know they're the new hot brand on the block, but they are not exempt from criticism just because of the new hotness. All right, let's talk Crown Jewel and preview Survivor Series a little bit.
Cool.
You know, we came out last week and we said, you know, I kind of said basically that nothing was going to happen because based off of their track record, nothing ever happens at these big shows. Clearly, of course, they heard me. Clearly, you're welcome. And, you know, Bray Wyatt is the new Universal Champion. Beat Seth Rollins. I guess you can say clean. It was Falls Count Anywhere, so as clean as you can get it, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's a new Universal Champion. Thoughts on Crown Jewel as a whole?
It was a okay card. It was better probably than a Hell in a Cell it ended up being because of the main event.
Couldn't have been that. Couldn't have been. Jeez, you had really set that bar pretty low.
Yeah. Great match. Go back and watch Mansoor and Cesaro.
Yeah.
They really just knocked out of the park. Nothing else was too memorable besides the Fiend winning.
Yeah.
But I would say it's probably their best outing.
Big show like this?
Big show in Saudi Arabia or in Australia, wherever they go.
Yeah.
Probably like their best show, but that's also like
That's not saying a whole lot.
putting it at like a C or C plus is their best show also.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I didn't think anything in the Falls Count Anywhere match, anything was done that was that special. I know The Fiend's big bump he took into the lighting and everything was kind of cool, but outside of that, if the title doesn't change hands, we're talking about how the show's terrible. So, you know what I mean? So I think that with that being said, I agree with you. I got to watch the Brock. I was at work for a good majority of the show, but I watched the Brock Cain Velasquez match. I still think that is an eyesore of a time, and I think as much credit. What's frustrating for me a little bit too is like, okay, you had Bray and Seth and Hell in a Cell. Why not just give them the title there?
Yeah.
Because then, right, like and we were talking about this literally on the way here when we said, you know, Bray's on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So Bray's now the Universal Champion. Is he taking? You know, he's taking that title to SmackDown now. Is he back on Raw? We have no idea.
Makes you want to watch.
I guess,
So,
right?
that's what they're
Brock
going for.
Lesnar quit SmackDown. He's going to Raw to beat up Rey Mysterio again for the umpteenth time.
Yes.
So it's like, where are you going with that? And I really don't understand the Brock thing because he just, first off, Cain Velasquez tapping out in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. And I understand that he had to take the loss because he's got the knee problem. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
My problem with that is twofold. Number one, why do you book it then? That's the first thing. And number two, why not have a schmaz?
Mm-hmm.
Why not have a bad finish there? Because if you're going to just have this guy that you're paying a bunch of money to then just go tap out, and I get it, it's to Brock Lesnar, I understand, but your whole premise of this whole match has been Kane just destroyed Brock in a legit fight.
Mm-hmm.
So now in a shoot fight, you're gonna he's just gonna tap out and it's over with. He didn't even put something on his knee. I would have preferred it to at least be like he's got a knee problem and Brock just shattered his knee with 12 chair shots. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they stopped the match or something rather than him just go, oh Kimura, I'm tapping and I'm done.
Yeah.
Like this ain't Cena here that you can do that to where he's impervious. He could lose 100 times in a row and then go. This guy's never had a match in WWE before, and his first match not only is for the title, stupid, against Brock, rough. And then he loses in less than 5 minutes. I mean, crap. I mean, Kofi's like, dude, I could have lasted longer. You know that. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It was a little confusing, and it feels like another show where it's like they just couldn't get out of their own way and just do it. You know what I mean?
It
was very frustrating. But
was.
with that being said, going now into Survivor Series, introducing NXT for the first time in the Survivor Series we saw on Friday night, where due to a lot of the main roster being stuck with travel issues, which is hilarious. You see this NXT invasion happen, right? You saw Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Riddle, Keith Lee. You saw Adam Cole beat Daniel Bryan clean in the ring for the NXT Championship. Triple H kind of drawing the line in the sand. Shawn Michaels was on the show. Pat McAfee on commentary, which was awesome, by the way. I am such a Pat McAfee fan, like hilarious. But I mean, what are your thoughts on NXT kind of getting that nudge up into this pay-per-view setting now, to where it's kind of like Raw and SmackDown versus NXT?
Makes it a lot more exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
No one really
for
wants to see SmackDown versus Raw normally.
Yeah, nobody cares.
But now you add the NXT component and what Triple H does on SmackDown and basically calls them all out. Now you're like, wow.
Right.
That's
what's going to happen now on Monday night? What's going to happen on Wednesday?
Yeah.
You're going to see Raw and SmackDown guys now coming on Wednesday.
Better.
You know what I mean? So I think that is I think it's finally something where they went, okay, NXT is the hot brand for us, right? It's
Yeah.
the only show that's drawing. It's the only show that people want to watch. Nobody else cares about anything else. So there's a lot of question marks, and I think that's a good thing for WWE in some regard to go, you know, like, all right, what's Brock going to do, right? What is the status of both world championships now with Bray on SmackDown, right? Where does Seth Rollins go from here? Who the hell is going to challenge Bray Wyatt for the title? What is this NXT invasion going to turn into? Is it just going to be this one-off for the month and then everything goes back to the same? Do we have people getting called up? Is that going to be the new thing where it's like, you got NXT guys now showing up, you know, kicking ass or whatever? You know, there's a lot of question marks, which I think at this time, especially with this move to Fox, I think is a severe shot in the arm for WWE, where they go, okay, let's wake up, fresh matchups, you know what I mean? And I think they're using these NXT guys to go, hey, you want to see Shinsuke versus Matt Riddle? Done. You know what I mean? You want to see Finn against, well, I guess Finn's a bad example because you don't have to go, but you want to see Ciampa versus whoever? Done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that helps the NXT guys too get over, make people want to watch NXT, you know, to kind of help that war. But also I think, especially from the SmackDown side, because it's been a rough couple weeks on SmackDown, you get that injection of talent where you go, oh snap, you know, like anything can happen at any time, and I think they're finally adding that. You know what I mean? What do you think? I mean, I think it's clear that if it is going to be NXT versus Raw and SmackDown, NXT goes over, right? I think that's a must.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I don't see them not going over. What I really want to see is just have a lot of like mid-card number one contenders versus NXT guys. Like, it's almost like a fight between Raw and SmackDown to get to NXT is like the main goal.
Right.
So you have like Shinsuke as IC champ, you have AJ as US champ, and they're like, no, I want
to represent WWE against NXT.
Yeah, basically how it's set up. And then you're like, no, and then AJ's like, no, I want to go first Roderick Strong as the mid-card match or whatever. So then you have that match on, say, like a Raw for number one contenders to fight Roderick Strong, who's the North American champion.
Right.
Or you have the tag champs, the Raw and SmackDown tag champs, fight each other, be like, yo, I want Undisputed Era at Survivor Series.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Same.
Because everyone on NXT is like, come on, come at us.
Right.
And
Exactly.
Raw and SmackDown are like fighting each other in an inner battle to get to that point.
Right, yeah. I think if NXT doesn't get put over strong, then I feel like then you've really just killed like all, because then you're like, okay, well, they're still developmental then. That can't be it anymore. They have to be looked at as a legitimate third brand.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping, and I think Triple H is the perfect guy to, you know, he actually is leading NXT, but I think he's the perfect guy to kind of get that over the hump with his mic, because I think Triple H is still very good on the mic. So I think that he can really get it to a point, him and Shawn being there as well, you know, I really like that dynamic where they're just kind of like, we're going to buck the trend again.
That scene when Daniel Bryan on SmackDown goes
Dude,
over, and Michael starts like pulling his stuff up.
I was low key. I was like, man, they're so hurting for talent right now. They're gonna put Shawn in the ring, and then I went, but then I went, okay, Adam Cole's there. Okay, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Because he took his coat up and he went, yo, it's cold in here.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you're such a jerk.
And every fan just went,
oh my gosh, right? And somebody made a criticism like that, like, well, when you tease Triple H and then Shawn, Adam Cole feels like a lesser. And I go, I'm like, you're looking at it the wrong way. It's the point of, okay, let's get them, but then we're gonna give them the best talent we have, right? Like, hey, I don't have, it's not gonna be Shawn. It's not gonna be this guy. It ain't gonna be me. I don't got my stuff. But you know what you can do? You can fight my best guy. You know what I mean? You can fight our champion. You can fight the guy. That's not Cole being buried. That's Cole being elevated to the level in which Daniel Bryan is already at. That's what happened there. And with Cole going over clean, only adds to the legitimacy of not only Adam Cole, the NXT brand, but also the NXT championship. You know what I mean? To have a guy like that who just can beat one of the best wrestlers in the world clean like that, that's important as far as the development of NXT as a brand. So I think people need to kind of get on that train. All right, that's going to be it for part one. After the break, we're going to be talking Lions trade deadline and the eventfulness of that. I can't even say it with a straight face. We're going to talk World Series action, and then maybe talk some basketball. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe
so.
I don't know. Maybe I know Mike's pretty excited about it, so maybe we'll do it. All that great stuff after the break. Stick around. And welcome back to episode 49. Sure.
You know more than I do.
I don't remember. I always forget. It all blurs together now. We've had so many great moments on the show. Let's just jump right in now. Part two. Let's talk World Series.
Yes.
Big deal,
About time.
right? Washington Nationals, World Series champs. Officially, that all the rest of the starting Tigers pitchers from that 2014 team now have a World Series ring.
Yeah.
Anibal Sanchez, Max Scherzer get the win.
Good for them.
I guess. Big moment though for obviously for the franchise, their first World Series championship. They did it, I think, out of spite for the fact that they lost Bryce Harper in the offseason, which is hilarious. But is this? We've talked about this now, and I've kind of said this, and we've mentioned this several times now throughout the show, where we go this now with this win. Does this change everybody's ideology on baseball free agency going forward?
I mean, it should.
You know what I mean?
Will it? Probably not, but it definitely
you know what I
should.
mean? Like you look at it and you go, okay, the Astros, you know, they made some big trades, so they had a high payroll. But like the Nationals, outside of Scherzer, they didn't really go sign a guy. You know what I mean? They let their biggest quote unquote star go, and now they win a World Series without him. You know what I mean? So you go, okay, maybe this does change the way, and I know we keep coming back to this, but, you know, for so long, baseball's just been, all right, let's throw money at the problem. Throw money, and it gets us a championship. But now we're seeing that maybe that's not going to get done. Like, Cleveland is another team where it's like, there's not a lot of guys that are getting paid a ton of money in Cleveland right now. You know, when the Cubs did it, the Cubs were very specific on the guys they signed, but a lot of that was homegrown talent. That, you know, the Royals traded for short-term assets that they didn't keep in order to win a World Series. So it's like you look at all these guys and you go, you know, I don't want to sign that guy to an 8-year, $300 million contract anymore. And I think you're going to start seeing a regression as pace going. I think you're going to see a lot of players holding out.
Probably
Because of it.
I don't think in any league ever you should sign guys to those 10-year
Oh my gosh, that's
contracts or
crazy.
whatever, because that's just insane. Like, there's no way you can keep the production. You're so the ideology is you're signing a guy because he's so good at that time that you want to make sure you keep him for 10 years, aka like a Miggy or Bryce Harper, etc. Mike Trout's in those. But for baseball, after like 4 years after that, you're not that player anymore, you know what I mean? Like Miggy, the second you sign that contract, you're like, yeah, he's probably the best hitter in baseball.
Yeah.
And now, he's got like 4 years. I don't know how long he's got a couple years left in his 10-year, $300 million contract that he got or whatever. Yeah. And look what he's doing for us right now.
Right.
Not very much at all. He's either hurt all the time or he's just not hitting very well.
Right.
So I never thought that. Like, I've never been the guy to be like, oh yeah, let's go give that guy an 8-year contract. Right. And now you're seeing it even more. Maybe you should stick to those 2-year contracts and like value them after they're done after the 2 years instead of just giving them 10 years.
Right. And I think in the player's perspective is okay. Well, you're paying me, and in Miggy's case, right, it was we're paying you for what you did, not for what you're going to do, right? And I think they knew that going in, but they had a good enough team. They thought, where okay, we just gotta hold on a little bit longer, keep Miggy, and then maybe we can piece it together for one more run, and obviously that was a disaster. Yeah. But I think you're right, and I think you're going to see a lot of players be like, where's all this money going? And I think a lot of baseball owners are going to go, unless you're like 22, you know what I mean? Unless you're this phenom of a player that I'm going to sign for 8 years so I can get you till you're 30, you know, because I think you can be a valuable baseball player after the age of 30. It's not like football where it's like 30 is like, okay, this is a uneven field now, but 32, 33, 34, like you're getting to a point where it's like, okay, now you're really not productive. Like Albert Pujols signed with the Angels quite a few years ago on hopes that he had 2 or 3 good years left that we compare with Mike Trout in order to win a World Series. That didn't happen. Yeah. Now Pujols is old, slow, and can't do anything. So I think you're right. I think it's going to drastically change, I think, MLB general managers' perception of, okay, we need this guy, but it's going to cost us this much money. So you go, maybe we just do it ourselves and just, you know.
If you're the Nationals and someone like Soto, because he's only 21 and stuff, that's a guy you're like, all right, let's give that 9-year contract to or whatever until he's 30, 31. All for it if you have the money for it and you think you can work around that. But like when a guy's like 25, 26, you're like, all right, let's give that guy the 10-year contract because he's been so good. I'm like, is that really what you want to do?
4 years into that deal,
4 or 5 years, you're not gonna be able to get rid of the contract. Nope. So now you just have this guy you can't like bench
and it's
because you're paying him $30 million.
Guaranteed as soon as he signs.
Yeah, it's just it puts you in a really rough spot.
Asinine is really what it is. Talk about though, what is the impact for a Nationals team, right? I mean, this is a huge win. Clearly, it's the first one in history. But I mean, is this this is a weird time in baseball because who won the World Series last year? Was the Astros won last year? Or Boston won?
Boston.
Right? Boston won. The year before that was Astros, right? And then the
Cubs
year before that,
before
Cubs before that. So you're seeing a lot of teams now who have never gotten there. You know what I mean? You're starting to see this trend of, does this give you hope at all as a Tigers fan to be like, okay, some of these teams, they went through heavy rebuilds to get there. The Cubs went through a 100-year rebuild, for gosh sakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's take Boston out of it for a second because they've been a franchise now, a dynasty for a while. But, the Cubs, even the Indians, the Royals, teams who are naturally have been terrible for a good chunk of time are now finally starting to see that. The Nationals, they've had Strasburg for a long time, but they never put it together. Now you got all these, these teams that are, maybe not the Yankees, aren't the Mets, aren't the Dodgers, aren't, these quote-unquote cornerstone franchises winning the World Series. If you're a Tigers fan, that's got to give you at least a little bit of hope, right? That maybe at the end of this rebuild, right, we'll be there, and we can kind of follow that trend. Or are you just kind of like, we're so far away?
I mean, we're not so far away, but we are still a good ways away to really be optimistic to that point that you're like, oh, we're just gonna skyrocket and be that team. But I do think I would look at those past successors and go, maybe there is a little glimmer of hope.
Right.
As
Like if we do this right, we can get there.
Yeah, 100%. If you do everything right, I do think there's the glimmer of hope to get there. But where our standing is right now, I don't think you could ever go, oh yeah, we won 40 games this year. Now next year or in 3 years we're gonna go win 100 games. Like I don't think that's either the trajectory that people are on right now.
Honestly, it's what's weird about baseball too. It's like the Royals are bad again, right? But the Royals had like a year and a half where they were a really good baseball team and they won a championship.
Yeah.
If that's all they would need is they just need one run.
That's what I mean.
Get it, and then it's like, all right, well after that we got 10 years for it.
Give it 3 or 4 more years, and then you'll have that one run. If you have the right manager, you have the right pitching rotation, which it looks like you might be able to get soon.
Right.
If you get all that going, maybe you can get that 1 or 2 year run where you have the chance.
Right.
But
and I think that's
you just look at the team now and you just go, "There's not."
Well, I think, and that's another thing too. I think you're seeing that these runs or these windows for teams are shorter. Like before, it's always like, okay, Boston's always going to be in it. Like the Tigers had a good 10-year run there where they were in it for the majority of that time. But now you're like, okay, like these windows are getting shorter. Like that Astros window is shrinking drastically every single year. Verlander's getting older, Greinke's getting older. Verlander's terrible in the World Series. I mean, my God, is he terrible in the World Series. But you're just seeing like that; those windows are starting to really close up quick. That's like teams like the Braves are like, okay, we got to go sign whoever now. Like that's why the Phillies, I think, went and signed Bryce Harper because they're like, this window's not very big. We got to just spend the money now, hope that he can get us over the top. The Cubs didn't make playoffs this year.
Yeah.
3 years removed from World Series, and now they're not even in the playoffs. We're talking about Chris Bryant maybe getting traded and all that other stuff. So you're like, man, those windows are razor thin. You know what I mean? It's like I don't think the Nationals aren't going to be like the favorites to repeat next year.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that's not going to be a thing. So you're just like, man, like those are you really got to be on top of your game and make those moves,
Especially when you have lesser payroll than other teams.
Yes.
Because if you're the Yankees, you're like, all right, let's just get the next best guy or whatever.
Right.
But when you're like the Nationals and you have the lower payroll, you got to be like, you got to make sure everything fits, and you got that 1-2 year run where you're like, all right, I got everything fitting, we got everything, we got the money situated, this is the year we have to go.
Right, exactly.
So that's when the Tigers are going to have to find that year where like maybe, and it also comes down to maybe the teams in there in the AL Central are just not that good that year.
Right.
And you're like,
we gotta make the run now.
Listen, like we're 3 games above with 5 games left. Like we gotta just finish this run out and get to the playoffs.
Right.
Because here's the thing: the second you get to the playoffs in baseball, now you have the chance.
Absolutely.
It's all about getting through that long marathon grind to get there.
And who gets hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Who gets hot at the right time. You can be the best team in baseball, the best record, but you can easily lose in the first round if you get caught by hot hitting or hot pitching.
Exactly.
It's that easy. So it's extremely. I think baseball is one of those sports where it's like you just like NBA. The Pistons make playoffs. There's no chance they're making the finals. 0% chance it's ever happening.
Basically.
Baseball though, I feel like okay, you get there, anything because it's so fickle. And baseball is like, man, they're just hot or they're not.
Football's the same way.
Exactly. Football's the exact same way.
Slide into a 6 seed and you're just like, upset alert.
Right, yeah, exactly. Oh, we just went on the road for 3 straight games and won.
Yeah.
It is what it is, So extremely interesting. All right, let's talk. What were we going to talk about?
I think we're doing the Lions.
Oh yeah, that's right, Lions. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that's
I
right,
had a lot
yeah.
on my mind today. We're going to talk Lions trade deadline. That's probably because I all the flurry of deals that happened at the trade deadline.
Yeah, you just couldn't think about which one you want to talk about first.
As you guys probably know by now, the Lions did not make any moves outside the Quandre Diggs trade that we talked about last week, but they did not make any moves at the trade deadline. I know some fans were mad. Maybe they should have went and tried to go get a running back. Maybe go try and trade for a guy like Von Miller. There was talk of guys like Jamal Adams and Le'Veon Bell being available from the Jets. Now we've heard now since the trade deadline has ended, Lions did make some calls, made a call about Jamal Adams at safety. They made extensive conversations about Devontae Freeman. They know they called about Chris Harris Jr., the corner out of Denver, right? So the Lions were clearly active at the trade deadline. They didn't just sit there and went, no, we're good. You know what I mean? So clearly they were looking to make, maybe some moves or some additions or what have you. For whatever reason or another, they just couldn't get it done. How mad are you, Mike, that they didn't make a move?
Well, I think it comes down to where you think the season's gonna outlie. Because I think it comes down to you. I think they should have at least made a move, whether it's sell stuff and set up for next year, because you don't think with the division and how the NFC is shaping out right now, it's gonna be very tough to get a wild card. Because right now, at the pace it's going, I don't think you can outbeat the Packers right now. I think their schedule gets a little light, there's a part where it gets hard, and then it gets lighter. So I don't know if they can get down to the 4 losses or 5 losses and we can win out or whatever. So if we don't win our division, I don't know if we can slide into a wild card with the Seahawks,
You're gonna need 10
Rams.
wins.
So you're going to need at least 9 to 10 wins, and that's going to be tough to get to.
Because you already have 3 with the tie doesn't help either.
Yeah, so you look at that and you go, if you don't think that you have that, I think you should have been selling. Maybe maybe Slay out, maybe make some of these other moves. But if you thought, okay, like the NFC, maybe you look and you're like, our schedule's easy, maybe we can get that glimmer of hope. Maybe then I think you should have been getting your running back, get a defensive back, get a safety, do something. I think just sitting put is like the worst move you could have done, because you didn't get any draft capital for the upcoming draft, nor did you get any pieces to help you this year. So you gotta just sat there and now you're just still there.
I think they're in a tough position and the reason why I was not upset that they didn't make a move is because I am not about giving away future assets for in all honesty, right? Like if we're looking at this team, they're not Super Bowl contenders. We know that.
Yes.
We know that, right? So I don't think there was a move they could have made that would have propelled them to catch the Packers. At the way this rate is going, the Packers are getting every lucky break. Mahomes not playing. You know what I mean? I mean, everything is just falling in line for them pretty easily here. But with where you're playing right now, the way your schedule sets up, the way that you have, your offensive line is not blocking well enough for any running back to do anything. And the guys that everybody thought you should have been in on, whether it was Melvin Gordon or, even Kenyon Drake and all those guys, they had some of the lowest rushing yards per attempt in the league this year. So that may not have been the thing. And I am not a purveyor of trading away a 3rd round, a 2nd round, even a 4th round pick for a guy for 9 games. It's, for me, that is the part where I went, you know what? I understand, right? Like, if they would have went and traded away a 4th round pick for Chris Harris, I'd have been like, all right, that helps the secondary out quite a bit because he can play both slot and, outside. But at the same time, I go, okay, but he's not going to be here next year. He's not going. He's 30. You're getting him literally for this run. If they were sitting at 5-2, and you know what I mean, and and the Packers were at 6-2 or whatever, and we were right there thinking, okay, we've already beat the Packers once because they should have, and whatever. And they only have the loss to Kansas City and Minnesota, and you go, okay, maybe we can make a run. Then I'd be in your camp where I'd be like, they needed to do something. I'm not and if they're not going to get the assets necessary for Slay with 2 years left on his deal, I'm okay with keeping him. If that means they trade him in the offseason, fine. If that's what it requires them to do. But right now, if you think that you have an okay enough team where you can get to 9 or 10 wins without making a move and not kicking that can down the road and hurting your future because you're not a Super Bowl contender yet, I'm okay. I didn't think. And now, if they would have traded a 1st round pick for Jamal Adams, sold. Done. If that's what it would have took, fine, because that is a premier player.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't think there was anybody available or made available that would have been like, oh, yeah, like, you know what I mean? It's not like they were like, oh, yeah, Tom Brady's available for a fourth. Okay, no, that's a little too rich for our blood. You know what I mean? Like, it's not what it was. So a lot of these guys are going to be hitting free agency anyway, and you're not... You know what I mean? You're not going to keep those guys. You're just not going to do it. So that was a big thing for me. I am a little surprised that we saw no action, like at all, really, at the trade deadline. I was surprised guys like AJ Green, they didn't even attempt to move. You know, Von Miller, I thought Denver would have easily been like, well, maybe we get this $13 million off of our structure. You know what I mean? Like the Jets being as open as they were, I was a little shocked by. You know, you can tell already that Le'Veon Bell is like, I really made a bad choice by going with the Jets. Like you can feel that. But I was a little surprised too that teams like, you know, I figured New England would have done something stupid and crazy and got them even further. I mean, they traded for Sanu, obviously. They got Sanu, right? But, you know, I was surprised the team, you know, Seattle with the Josh Gordon pickup, I mean, they didn't give up anything, but I was kind of surprised, like, maybe they wouldn't have made a move, maybe something bigger on the defensive end. Some of these teams, you know.
Our digs out, though, so.
Yeah, right, yeah. Whatever, we all know my thoughts on that. But the point being is that I was just surprised that maybe not another contender really didn't try to go and swing for the fences.
Well, I think all the teams that are in contention, I think are like okay with their rosters.
Right.
Like I don't think there's anywhere that like
I think everybody is asking for a lot.
Yeah, and you're asking for like all these lower teams are like, oh, I want 2 first-round picks for Von Miller. No,
it's not
and stuff like that. But like I think all the literal like if you look at the 5 or 6 legitimate contenders for the Super Bowl, I don't think any of them are like, oh, we need this position to be there. Like I think they're all like, if we can steal Snacks Harrison for a 5th, like we did last year, then they would do that.
Right.
But they're not going to go give a first for a guy because I don't think like you look at the Patriots, the Chiefs.
Right.
I mean, the Chiefs could have used a DB, I think, but besides that, I think they're set.
Yeah.
Packers, Seahawks, or 49ers or something.
Right.
Saints. You look at all these teams. I don't think they're like we need that one piece to get us over the edge. I think they all think that with the team that they have now,
I think they can get there.
They can get there.
Right.
So I think that's what kept all of those contenders from getting there.
About it.
And then the middle of the pack were like, well, we're not good enough to get there, so why do it? Like
what I did think was kind of interesting though, and something that was kind of a low key move was the Dolphins trading for Aqib Talib. Aqib Talib then immediately, I think he retired, didn't he? I think he retired.
No, well, he's on IR until week 15.
Yeah, but I think he's like retiring now. He's like,
I think so.
Or something. Anyway, point being is that they basically said, okay, we have a lot of cap space, so we're gonna incur his salary, but you're also gonna give us a 5th round pick for basically nothing. It's a very NBA-esque move when you think about it. It's very similar to like, all right, you're going to give me a 1st round pick, and I'll take on Lou Alding's $30 million contract, but you're going to give me a 1st round pick, as well as me trading you whoever to make the money work. So it was a very NBA way of doing things, and I do think that is you're going to start seeing that where this is the first year where you can look at it and go, okay, the Dolphins are tanking. They are clearly tanking. Cincinnati is like, we thought maybe we were going to be decent because our division was going to be maybe up, maybe down, depending. But we're clearly terrible, so we're going to tank. You're going to see, you know what I mean? So you got some teams where you're like, we're just bad. We're not going to be good. We're not even going to try to be good. We're just going to make it look like we've kind of played football for 16 weeks.
You know what? The game I'm most looking forward to, this is so sad to say.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to how bad the Bengals and Dolphins game is going to be.
Oh my god!
Because they're both probably going to be 0 at that time.
I hope it's like a 3-0 game too.
But like they're both going to just send all-out blitzes, and it's either they're going to get sacked
and
or
they benched Andy Dalton too. And Andy Dalton's pissed like, you could at least did it like a couple weeks ago so I could get traded.
Yeah.
Like he's like now I'm just stuck here. He's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be hilarious. But that's what I'm saying though, is that you've got teams that are actively just going, nope. Not this year. We tried, right? Yeah. You know, Miami at least has got like 35 first-round picks, so they're gonna be that rebuild's gonna be fast. But so I think you're gonna start seeing more of that NBA general managership where it's like, all right, I'll take on that bad contract, you know, and with 1 year left, I'll take on Aqib Talib's 5, knowing full well he's not gonna play for me.
Yeah.
But I need an asset in return for a half ham sandwich. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of. You know, I just thought it was, I thought it was interesting how they did that. It was something that a lot of people aren't really talking about because Miami's awful, but those are the kind of moves where you're like, all right, yeah, we'll take on the $5 million. No one's coming off the books anyway, but you're going to give us an extra piece of draft capital that we can then later trade to move up in the 2nd round again. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of moves I think are always kind of interesting. They kind of fly underneath the radar a little bit. You know, it just makes it a little interesting for me guy who follows all that stuff. I follow that stuff so hard. Like I was like,
You follow more the money side.
oh yeah,
I
for
watch
sure.
all the games, and you're just
For
like,
sure.
You're like, oh, Lions have $17.7 million in cap, and I'm like, oh, cool. You see that they lost the Giants.
You know what it is? It's for me. It's the building of a roster. You know what I mean? So you look at it, and that's why like I look. Okay, all right. Why do they spend this money? What do you think is the rationale behind why they paid Justin Coleman?
That's why I think.
$36 million. And you go, oh, I see why they.
That's
paid
why I
Justin
think you
Coleman.
like free agent frenzy.
Oh my gosh!
And the draft
I
more
love
than the
it.
actual season.
Oh my gosh!
Because I like watching the games, and you like, okay, how are we gonna build this roster?
I like watching the Lions games. After that, I'm just kind of like, I enjoy watching football as a fan, but if I have nothing invested, I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, like that sucks because, and the Lions frustrate me because they just decide they're going to be awful all the time. So it's like, it's hard for me to be a fan.
Yeah.
But I always like the thought of, okay, if they did this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If this reaction causes this, you know what I mean? So it's always fun to see the roster come together and be like, okay, where do they think they're going to target? Okay, like when we do the draft stuff every year, that's fun. I love that to no end because I love being able to predict, okay, here's the needs, here's this. That's always good stuff for me. I follow that stuff super hard. You're always like, oh yeah, but did you see they're averaging like 12 yards a carry? And I'm like, yeah, but what if they threw the ball more? Like I said, I will watch the Lions every single week until I die. But other than that, Sunday Night Football, I'll turn it on, but I'm not going to be like invested as I am.
I find some way to get invested.
I am invested in the Lions only, and until the Lions win the Super Bowl, that will be the focus. After that, I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. You know what I mean? But all right, let's talk last a little bit here. Let's talk some NBA action.
Oh, cool. Wait, I know where the answer is.
We talked last week, the debut, the premiere of the season, but I really want to talk about how the change that 1 year makes. Because you're already seeing it, and it is crazy.
It is.
How much of a seismic shift that we have seen in the NBA in a matter of literally minutes, it feels like. The Warriors, awful. Mm-hmm. Steph Curry, out for 3 months. You know what I mean? 2 years ago, Cavs were in the finals. They're awful, right? You see the Lakers all of a sudden went from, what the hell is this team to, oh, okay, yeah, NBA finals, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Clippers, same thing. Toronto, meh, they're okay. This is one of the biggest upheavals, and I think in a long time, where you just go, I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You watch everything. So talk to me about what you're seeing from an on the court product where you just go, it's crazy. I think this is bona fide nuts.
They've been able to make the NBA and just matchup of teams way more exciting because
my goodness.
I don't hate dynasties.
Right.
I'll just throw it out there. I'm not like I didn't like the Warriors. I think they started off in a good path and then ended in a path that I didn't enjoy as much.
Yeah. Right. They became the bad guys.
They definitely became the bad guys. And that's just a different story to go to. Yeah. But besides that, you look at every team. You go, okay, so Lakers have AD, LeBron. You got the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George. You got Houston with Russ and Harden or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like every single team, you go down the list has one or two guys
where you can just go, yep, that's their premier.
Yeah, that's their duo. You got Luka and Porzingis. You got Middleton and Giannis. You got name a guy. Mm-hmm. And it's just so fun because now it's like last year you look forward to like 3 games in the NBA season. It was Warriors, Lakers, or it was Warriors, Like it was always like the Warriors against somebody because the Warriors were just so dominant in the West versus whoever the East had. Yep. Now you're like Houston Celtics, I'm in.
Right.
Houston Bucks, you got Lakers this team, you got Dallas Mavericks versus the Suns, I'm invested.
Right.
And now you got so many games that you're just like, wow, this is going to mean so much later and everything that just makes the season so much more fun to watch.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see, it really is. And I think what you're seeing too is you're seeing, and you made a great point last week about saying like everyone expecting Lakers to win 65 games are drunk. Right?
Honestly, they are.
Because if you look across the league, and you just nailed this perfectly when you say, look at across the league. There's anybody you can point to and go, oh, well, they got those two guys, though. That's a pretty good combination, Hell, even the Pistons. All right, they got Blake Griffin and Drummond and Rose.
Drummond and Rose coming off, and Luke Kennard can shoot off the bench.
Right, you can make a case where you can go, this team could make a legit, not like a legitimate run, but like they could make a run to
the Lakers go in. There's not a lot of games like in right now football. The Patriots can go in about 10 games or 11 games on their schedule and go, Patriots win that game.
Yeah,
and that's always
without any pause.
Without any pause. You go like the Lakers. name a team, and I can go, but there's this chance that they lose.
Right.
Like, they
you
play
can
Dallas.
make a case at any time that you can lose.
Yeah,
anybody.
so you go Lakers versus Dallas. I would say who win? You go Lakers, but it's probably like a blowout.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, they went to overtime and won by 5 points.
Right.
And you'd go,
And LeBron had to put up a triple-double.
and LeBron had put up a 39, 16, 12 triple-double
Yeah.
to even make the game go to overtime.
Right.
And that's like the stuff that like every single game now you go, oh, you get Clippers versus Hawks. Oh, by the way, Trae Young's going for 40, and they're going to be winning by 1 point in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Like, it's all these games that you're like, oh, there's no way that this team should win, and now they're in that game,
Right.
making the fourth quarter so important now.
Yeah, you're really making the league, you're making NBA a must-see every single night because now, even though there's 82 games, these games matter. Like,
Yeah.
the Pistons need Blake Griffin back in the worst way.
Yeah.
Losing to the Bulls is unacceptable.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that there's very few teams, Chicago being one of them because they're not very good, Memphis being a team that's not very good. There's a couple teams out there that are still trying to get there, but even to your point, the Suns, okay, they got Booker, they got DeAndre Ayton, they've got guys where you're like, this team may not be very good this year, but man, they're going to be really good 2 years from now. You know what I mean? Or there's just so much balance for the first time in
Yeah.
10 years.
And it's crazy to think that the Warriors might go from 5 straight finals to not even making the playoffs.
Right, and it's that fast.
Just that fast.
And it's that fast, and that is the crazy part.
They go from a 1 seed the last 5 years to now
coasting.
just literally shimmering and doing whatever. And now they're going to be like, can we get the 8th seed this year?
Yeah,
'Cause
right.
As we started the season, I think they might get 7 or 8. Because
Yeah.
there's 6 teams that are just that much better than the Warriors are this year. Now with Curry being up for 3, I'm like,
Yeah, you got
Are they a 12
Russell
seed?
went. D'Angelo Russell went. So I'm back on the Nets again last year.
basically.
That's what I am.
With a lesser team because you have no supporting cast already with you.
Right.
Because everyone left
Yeah.
already
Yeah,
because
and
they
you're
were
paying
so
Clay, you're
top-heavy.
paying Steph, paying D'Angelo, you're paying Draymond, you're paying everybody.
Yeah.
And yet you don't have any depth.
Yeah.
It is.
So now they could be a 12
crazy.
seed in the
Yeah.
West now.
That is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. It's extremely fun. It's extremely important, I think, too, for the growth of basketball because it's something where you go, I can finally watch an NBA game and go, I don't know who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
I can
meaningful game.
playoff basketball this year is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, because
so much fun
every
because
single
it's,
matchup you're
it's going to be, and every game is going to matter because it's like, okay, home court don't matter against nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I am so excited. I pray. Oh man, do I pray we get Clippers Lakers.
in the
You know what I mean?
West
Where
Conference final.
they're home every game. How awesome would that be? Where it's just like, oh yeah, they're away, but it was Staples Center. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That'll be the most fair matchup because you're
Oh my
traveling.
god!
Like,
oh
you're
my
just sitting
god!
there for
It's just 7 straight weeks. Just like, yeah, we played 7 straight home games. Like, I am so excited. I really hope we get that matchup. I hope
I
like
do
one of them
too.
doesn't get pulled like an upset because I think that would be
Yeah.
a phenomenal
I will say
matchup.
in the NBA though, with all these fun games that will be
Yeah.
going on, I think there's legitimately like 4 or 5 contenders for the title.
I agree.
But I think I think getting up to that point though, there's
Yes.
a lot of like.
I just think it's gonna make. I just think, but I think you open the door though for more upsets, right? Like, do I think Houston could somehow shock and maybe beat the Clippers or the Lakers? Yes, I legitimately do. Like, now, do I think they have enough to win the championship? No, I don't. But to your point, right? There's enough of it where you go, it gives you a moment of pause. Where, like, if you were a Clippers fan or a Warriors fan, you go, oh no, we're easily to the Western Conference Finals with no problem whatsoever. And then after that, maybe they go 7. But, you know what I mean? Now it's like, okay, like, if the Lakers don't play well against Houston, Houston could steal one. You know, it's that easy now to kind of fall into that little sense of security. Right? That's why I think what you mentioned last week, where it's like, if you think a team is just going to go out and dominate for 60 games, you're wrong. Yeah, that's across
every
the board.
single
That is
game's gonna be a
across the
dogfight.
board. Exactly. Yeah, it's honestly, it's pretty crazy. It's fun to watch, as all can be. All right, that's gonna be it for episode, I think, 49. Man, we're getting so close to that 1 year, man. It is exciting time. Episode 49 in the books. For the Missing Whale Man, for the Merc Zone,
Yeah.
I'm the North Michigan, and we will see you guys as always next time.